Hi, this is Luana from Equilter.com, and today I want to share some really exciting news about a new artist whose work we are carrying. So, you may be aware that there is a trend of Indigenous artwork being offered to the art and design and home deck markets, and of course, it's happening on quilt fabric as well. One of the categories that's been very popular for a long time is our Australian prints. And now we've added a new artist, and her name is Shanae Sutton. And she is a contemporary Aboriginal artist in Australia. And she is bringing such exciting new artwork, and I think really kind of remaking our idea of what Australian Aboriginal art can be. And her work is so beautifully expressed, and it prints so beautifully on fabric. So, I want to show you some of her work. We're going to be carrying more and more of her work. Our first batch sold out, and we've reordered, we've restocked. And we're going to be carrying panels, and if most of what she has sent us is the panels. And they're kind of like worlds unto themselves. Like you can enter into these dreamlike other realities that have a real focus on nature and, of course, Australian wildlife, but also marine life. And so that interest that we have here at Equilter in nature and conservation and the environment is really parallel to Shanae's artwork, and we really are appreciating her for that. But she is only 26 and she is already so successful and so famous, and you can see why as you look at her artwork. So you'll find her artwork in our Australian category, but we're going to give you a link both to her artwork specifically and also to the larger Australian category. And we also have some other Indigenous artwork that we're going to be featuring in the near future, so keep an eye out for that. One of those categories that's so interesting is Pacific Northwest Indigenous artwork. And of course, in a couple months, when I go back up to Churchill in northern Manitoba to photograph the polar bears, and this time I'm taking a busload of quilters with me, which is really exciting. We'll be exposed to some more of that Indigenous Inuit and Métis artwork as well. And so as far as the Aboriginal artwork, so we see the dotted artwork, the pointillistic like lines and undulating circles of dots that Shanae has put in her artwork. But we also see she has really quite an extraordinary sense of color. She has very high drama and high contrast in her values and complementary colors and very rich, deep scenes in these panels that, like I said, there's just like a fantasy reality that you can really immerse yourself in. I have a friend, a quilter friend in Australia, Silky, who has been making quilts out of Shanae's artwork. And a lot of people have been admiring that work and asking, where can you get these fabrics? Well, actually, I've been following Shanae for a couple of years, and we've been trying to get her artwork, and we're just thrilled that we were finally able to bring it in from Australia. And those of you who've already found it on our website obviously appreciate it just as well. So I mentioned that we have an interest in environmental causes and nonprofits through our charity program. And you probably know that 2% of all sales that goes toward nonprofits includes two different environmental organizations, the Wild Foundation and Ocean Conservancy. And these are international groups that are doing work all around the globe to try to save habitat, save endangered species, and so on. When I was in Washington, D.C. last week, I met with folks from the Ocean Conservancy and also the Endangered Species Coalition. And, one of those small world stories, the young lady who came to meet with me at the National Art Gallery, which was really cool, we sat there in the cafe and we're having a coffee together and talking about Ocean Conservancy. And then she mentioned, oh, my sister is a quilter. And we talked a little bit more, and I found out that her sister is a very famous quilt artist named Sophie Standing. And she lives in Kenya. Apparently, she's in the process of moving back to the UK. So I'm hoping that I'll get to see her at the Birmingham show, perhaps, if she shows up. But there I was just sitting with her younger sister. So, small world. And then it turned out that recently another quilt artist friend of mine, Sue Devaney, who lives in Australia, and had that gorilla piece in the For the Love of Gaia exhibit that I've told you about in the past that I curated. Anyway, Sue Devaney had recently made a portrait piece of Sophie Standing's two little boys. And so Melissa, the younger sister, was telling me that she had been looking at that portrait recently and admiring it. So anyway, it's just amazing what a small little circle that we live in the quilting world. And of course, we notice these beautiful artworks and we admire them. So that's another reason that we draw together, because we remember these artworks and we remember these names and these people. While I was there, I also met with the executive director of the Endangered Species Coalition, Lita Huta, and we are talking about some collaboration on the topic of art and activism. And you probably heard me talk about this before, but I'm always encouraging artists to put a message in your work. If there's something that you feel strongly about, put it in your art quilt, if that's what you're making, or in whatever you're making, whether you're painting or stitching or whatever. Because sometimes if there's an issue that's really close to our heart, sometimes we can reach people through our artwork when it would be difficult to reach them with words, right? So watch for that. We hopefully will have some projects coming up in collaboration with the Endangered Species Coalition, and go ahead and look them up online. They're an umbrella organization, a nonprofit that gathers all the other nonprofits working on endangered species and brings them together. So instead of competing with each other, they're coming together as one voice, which I think is a fantastic idea. So I hope that you enjoy Shanae Sutton's work. As I said, we're just absolutely thrilled to have her as part of our lineup of artists and designers here. And I hope that we'll be telling you more stories about her. I haven't met her yet. I hope that I will someday. Shanae, if you're out there, we love your artwork. Keep up the good work. Okay, well, this is Luana, and I'm signing off for now. Thanks for joining us, and I will see you next time.